As attendance dips, churches change to stay relevant for a new wave of worshipers. As attendance dips, churches change to stay relevant for a new wave of worshipers. That is our headline today, the 20th of March, 2023. This is the English Language Learning Podcast. You can find a link to what I am reading in the description on the YouTube channel for every video. Você pode encontrar o link do que eu estou lendo na começa dos vídeos e na descrição no canal do YouTube. Today's headline, again, from npr.org. As attendance dips, churches change to stay relevant for a new wave of worshipers. As attendance dips, churches change to stay relevant for a new wave of worshipers. Before I continue, a reminder, uma lembrança, que você pode sentar, focar, estudar, anotar quando você está escutando nesse podcast, ou você pode simplesmente escutar como outro podcast, quando você está dirigindo ou parado no trânsito, quando você está lavando louça, limpando roupa, lavando roupa, andando com seu cachorro fora da casa, qualquer coisa, né? Você pode sentar, focar ou usar o podcast como um jeito mais informal e mais fácil ter mais exposição ao inglês de verdade. So you can listen to this and focus. I read the headline a couple of times, algumas vezes, para as pessoas que talvez está sentado e tentando fazer atividade de escrever o que eu estou falando. So again, as attendance dips, churches change to stay relevant for a new wave of worshipers, by John Burnett. Let's read. Eu não vou começar da primeira parágrafo nessa leitura, né? Eu vou começar na terceira parágrafo. I'm not sure paragrafo is, is an actual Portuguese word, but the third paragraph, 1, 2, 3. Here we go. 3 years ago, Battle, un nome, Battle walked away from more than 3 decades leading black Baptist churches and turned his attention to Battlefield Farm and Gardens in Knoxville, Tennessee, uma cidade no estado de Tennessee. They grow vegetables and sell them at a farmer's market. They also collect unsold produce from around the city and deliver it to people in public housing once a week, uma vez por semana. Battle says he left because traditional church was not connecting with people. He felt they were turned off by the sermons, the pitches for money, the Sunday morning formality of it all. So I said to myself, maybe we need to begin to do church differently. But what does that look like? And I didn't know until I got to the garden. As palavras do pessoa chamada Battle. American Christianity is in the midst, no meio, is in the midst of an identity crisis. Attendance is in steep decline, especially among millennials and Gen Z, who say traditional church does not speak to their realities. In response, religious leaders are scrambling to experiment with new ways to offer meaning in people's lives. Most of the folks who show up at Battlefield Gardens on Sunday mornings say they're looking for a faith community, but they're burned out on traditional religion. Generally, I'm here because I want 2 things out of church, says Kelly Sauskojus, a 27-year-old doutorado candidato PhD candidate in English, who says she's a refugee from fundamentalist churches. Mais palavras de ela. I want time to sit down like we do on Sundays sometimes or around the fire and like pray and recenter and figure out what we're about in the world because the world is very noisy. And then I want a church to get shit done with your community and for your community. That is all I will read. There's a lot more in the article. It's a very interesting article about religion staying relevant and changing uh, to to be effective with their community, right? To understand what are the people who go to church wanting, ou que tipo de igreja eles querem, ou que tipo de efeito e impacto no ambiente, no bairro, na comunidade, as pessoas mesmos querem ter no estrutura, os líderes da igreja, né? As pessoas que fazem, que são a igreja. E a igreja nos Estados Unidos é grande, né? Como no Brasil também. Mas acho que o Brasil e os Estados Unidos estão em uns trajetórias diferentes no futuro da igreja e o impacto da igreja nas comunidades das pessoas, especialmente as pessoas jovens. So, coming up though, we will have our English segment where we review the English from the article. Again, you can find the article, você pode encontrar, você pode find the article in the description section on the YouTube channel that you are listening to this on. Coming up next, all things English. As attendance dips, churches change to stay relevant for a new wave of worshipers. Let's start with all things English in the headline as attendance. Attendance would be as pessoas que estão presentes, né, em lugar. As attendance dips, D-I-P-S, to diminish, to go down, to decrease, diminuir, diminuir. Churches change, as igrejas mudam para ficar, to stay relevante, para uma onda nova de pessoas que reza, worshipers, rezadores. To walk away from something. This is down, I believe, in the first sentence of the reading, a leitura. 3 years ago, faz 3 anos, 3 years ago, Battle walked away from leading a Black Baptist church. To walk away from something is a phrasal verb. To walk away means to leave, to quit, retire, to stop. So, se afastar de, abandonar, desistir. Continuing, unsold produce, the same paragraph. They grow vegetables and sell them at the farmer's market. They also collect unsold produce. Eles também colher hortifruti no vendido, right? Unsold is one word. It's an adjective that just means no vendidos, unsold, U-N-S-O-L-D. To be turned off, to be turned off, or they were turned off by the sermons. The next paragraph. Battle says he left, at least saiu, because the traditional church was not connecting with people. He felt they were turned off by the sermons, the pitches for money, the formality, formalidade. So to be turned off by something is to be to lose interest, to be discontent, to lose interest, to be turned off. Let's see if there's a phrasal verb. Desligado, yeah, to be desligado. Para ser desligado. I don't like it anymore. It was okay at first in the beginning. No, I don't like that anymore. I don't like that. So when you lose interest in something, in this case, They're losing interest by sermons, right? As líderes da igreja falando, 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 falando. Right? That's a sermon. sermon, como discurso da igreja. Pitches for money, attempts to get money, tentativas para ganhar dinheiro das pessoas na igreja. The discurso de vendas, né? For money in church. And the Sunday morning formality of it all. A formalidade de as manhãs de domingo. A formalidade, né? Identity crisis. Identity crisis. American Christianity is in the midst, is in the middle, no meio of an identity crisis, crise de identidade, right? They're trying to rediscover, relearn who are we? What is our propósito? What is our purpose? What is the point? What are we doing? That is an identity crisis. And in this case, for Cristianidade Americano, attendance is in steep decline. We used the word at the beginning, attendance dips. This time it says attendance is in steep decline. Diminuindo com forço, né? So a steep decline would be diminuição. I don't know if that's a word. Diminution. A steep decline. Declínio acentuado, accentuated. Declínio acentuado. So going down, decreasing significantly. Leaders are scrambling. The next paragraph. In response, na resposta, the leaders are scrambling to experiment with new ways to offer meaning in people's lives. Os líderes religiosos estão esforçando, né, esforçando para experimentar com jeitos novos para oferecer significante nas vidas das pessoas na igreja. So to scramble is to do something, para fazer alguma coisa com urgência, to do something with lots of urgency, se esforçar para algo, para fazer algo. Most of the folks who show up, it's the next sentence, most of the folks just means people, think of Volkswagen, right, the people's car, folks. Most of the people who show up at the Battlefield Gardens on Sunday mornings say they're looking for a faith community, but they're burned out by traditional religion. To show up is chegar, ir, atender, estar presente, né? To be somewhere physically, to go somewhere, to show up. What time are you going to show up tonight? I'm going to show up at 8 p.m. Okay, I'll see you when you show up later. To go, to arrive. To be burned out, same sentence. But they're burned out on traditional religion. To be burned out by something is to no aguentar mais, to be done with it. Too much is too much. I think professionally, the expression burnout is common, right? And that expression professionally is also an expression for anything. When you're done, no aguento mais, no aguento mais. I can't, no more. Have to stop, take a break. Pray and recenter. Pray and recenter. This is after that woman, the 27-year-old Kelly Saskojus, is telling what does she want from church. I want time to sit down like we do on Sundays sometimes or around the fire and like pray and recenter and figure out what we're about in the world. So to pray and recenter, rezar y recalibrar, recentralizar, right? To refocus, to recalibrate, to recenter, and figure out what we're about. Figure out, resolver, you know, o nosso propósito, what we're about. So in English, you can ask someone, hey, what are you about? And when they ask you, what are you about? This could be an interview question. It may be slightly mais ou menos um pouquinho informal, né? But to ask someone, what are you about? Just means, o que são suas motivações? O seu propósito na sua vida existindo no mundo, right? So to figure out what we're about in the world is to resolver de nosso propósito, função, lugar no mundo. So I think we got one more. And yeah, the last comment that she says, because the world is very noisy. O mundo é muito ruidoso, barulhento. It's a hard word for me in Portuguese. Barulhento. And then I want church to get shit done in the community and for the community. So to get shit done, I know shit translates to merda, but I don't think it always translates to merda, right? In this case, shit is not a bad thing. It just means stuff. To get stuff, to get things done. So, but the expression to get shit done is to be productive, be effective, to make progress, para ser produtiva, para fazer progresso, para fazer, to do something, para fazer algo, right? Contra fazer nada, ou fazer alguma coisa, mas sem fazer progresso de verdade, ou sem ser efetivo. That is it for our English review. I encourage you. I hope that you read more because I think the topic is very interesting. I hope, I hope that I could help you with some confusion, but you need to tell me what is confusing. Vocês mesmos que têm que observar coisas que está difícil para vocês entender e então fazer comentário. Give me some comments or something. Class is helpful. I do class with people in São Paulo, and that helps me determinar o que está mais difícil, difícil entender do inglês. But you listening to this can tell me what is difficult for you. Coming up, though, in the next segment, questions and conversation about church, igreja, o futuro da igreja no Brasil e nos Estados Unidos, o seu perspectiva da igreja, meu perspectiva da igreja também. As attendance dips, churches change to stay relevant for a new wave of worshipers. Enquanto menos pessoas estão indo à igreja, as igrejas estão mudando para ficar relevante para uma onda nova de pessoas na igreja, or rezadores, or worshipers. That was the headline from NPR, National Public Radio, by John Burnett. You can find the link to the leitura, to the reading, in the descrição, no canal do YouTube. Right now, questions. Number one, what do you want from the church? What do you expect? O que você quer da igreja? O que você espera o que você espera da igreja? What do you want from the church? I do not go to church. I am not religious. Eu cresci indo à igreja católica e eu cresci, né, eu formei na escola desde 5 anos, kindergarten, até 18 anos, high school, em uma escola evangélica. I have lots of history in church. I have lots of memories and experiences and relationships with the church and people in the church. I have many friends who still go to church. I have many friends who've left the church. I have many friends who change churches. But right now, what do I want from the church? I don't go to church. Eu não ia à igreja. Eu não vou à igreja agora. Mas o que eu quero da igreja? Comunidade. Só. Just community. Help people. Damn it. Ok, eu falo a igreja. Estou falando da igreja cristã, né? Porque não usamos a palavra church falando do mosque. Não sei como se fala mosque in português, but the Muslimano, right? The Muslim mosque or temples of other religions. So I'm talking specifically now about the church that's relevant to Brazil and the U.S., the Christian church. No igreja cristã tem muitas denominações, né? Católico, evangélico, batista, Anglican, Anglicano, and more. There's many more. But in general, church. What do I expect from it? Tem uma igreja, tem duas igrejas, tem uma igreja, igreja em Brasil como Starbucks nos Estados Unidos, né? Tem quatro you know, duas ruas que tá conectando. Tem quatro igrejas, onde em Califórnia tem quatro Starbucks. But what do I expect? What do I want from a church in my community? I expect community, help, to help people who need help. That usually means sick people, homeless people, sem teto, people who are mentally ill, right? People who are, people who are difficult, people who need help. I expect the church to help them. Why? Because the fucking words of Jesus Christ. That's why. It's basic. The Bible for me is very simple. Help people. Period. End of the whole book. Help people. That's it. E parar de criar or de construir fronteiras das pessoas que vocês ou a igreja vai ajudar e não vai ajudar. Yeah. Well, what do I expect from the church? Community and help in the community. Period. That's it. I don't go to church, so spiritually, no, I don't expect anything personally. Number two, what do you think the future role of church is in Brazil? O que você acha do futuro, do papel do futuro da igreja no Brasil? O que você acha que vai acontecer? What do you think the future role of church is? O que você acha é o futuro do papel da igreja no Brasil? Isso foi. God damn it. The future role of church in Brazil. Difficult for me to talk about this question. Faz 4 anos que eu tô aqui no Brasil. But the future of the church in Brazil, I hope the church is a place for people to get social assistance and community assistance and help in Brazil. There are many communities in Brazil that need help, lots of them. It's very difficult to not see them. They're everywhere. Lots of people and communities and neighborhoods need help in Brazil. Churches have lots of money. Churches do not pay taxes. No pagam imposto. Né? Churches should be using all of their resources to help people in their community. Don't fucking go. I don't know what churches do in Brazil, but American churches go to Africa. Great, go to other places to help. But isso é mais uma coisa para sentir bom, né, para as pessoas que estão fazendo atividades fora do país. Né? Uma coisa que eu fui à África para uma semana quando eu tive 18 anos, foi incrível. But help your community. Your church should have a significant role in your community for help. It should be a place where people understand if I need something, I can go talk to them and they will help me because they are the people who help people. That was the message of Jesus Christ, and it's very simple. Number 3, how have churches changed or not changed to stay relevant in Brazil? Como as igrejas mudaram ou não mudaram para ficar relevantes no Brasil? I can't really talk about this question because I don't have an answer because I'm not Brazilian and I have not been here. Eu não fiquei aqui tempo suficiente para ver, para falar e avaliar como a igreja mudou ou não mudou na minha vida, né? Então, a sua vida, como as igrejas mudaram ou não mudaram para ficar relevante no Brasil. Number 4, what would you say to someone? What would you say to someone if they told you they were experiencing an identity crisis? O que você falaria para alguém se eles te disse que eles fosse sentindo crise de identidade? What would you say to that person? And this is not about church. This is just about the expression identity crisis. And using modals, right? Conditional and modals. So what would you say to someone if they told you they were experiencing an identity crisis? I think I would tell someone if they were saying, hey, Jim, I'm experiencing an identity crisis. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I want. I would ask them to, that's difficult. I would ask them to maybe simplify their life, eat, drink, do exercise, do those basic things, and then build on those basic things and take a few risks. Tem que tomar, tem que arriscar algumas coisas para entender quem você é, right? Sometimes you have to go into a class or interview for a new job or do something that is a little bit scary and see how you like it and see if it fits with you, right? If you never take any risks, if you never risk, the desconforto de fazer alguma coisa nova, você nunca vai crescer. Se você não está crescendo, você não, você vai perder, né, quem você é. I think it's important to test who you are by trying new things. And that's what I would tell someone. So what would you tell someone if they were experiencing an identity crisis? Which organization or institution is experiencing an identity crisis right now in Brazil? Qual organização ou instituição está sentindo, está passando por crise de identidade agora mesmo, atualmente no Brasil? Let me say, in the U.S., the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is going through an identity crisis. Why do I say that? And it's not the only thing I'll focus on. But why? Because the identity of the court has recently changed significantly, and they are starting to have a transparent political agenda that is both new and oftentimes going against is in conflict with the majority of Americans' opinions and desires. So I think the Supreme Court is a place where they are starting to lose their identity and lose their ability to be respected. Their respectability is diminishing because they're not respecting the desire and direction of the United States. And they're focusing on their political agenda and the political agendas of people who put them into power. Examples of that, well, the abortion ruling. The abortion ruling was an unprecedented divorce from precedent, né? Eles fizeram uma decisão que foi divórcio de outra decisão e filosofia da lei, da privacidade das pessoas para ter conversas e fazer coisas com seus doutoras, né, que eles achem melhor para suas vidas mesmas. The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which is not our Constitution, but that is certainly something that the court is kind of forgetting. Other organizations that are experiencing an identity crisis in the United States, Congress, the Parliament, Congress, we call it in the U.S., is losing its identity. It's becoming a place for grift, for self-promotion. And I think that has always been true, but now people are able to control narratives with their base of voters, and now the things you say and do don't matter, and the truth doesn't matter. And when the truth doesn't matter, the people who are elected don't have any risk of losing their job because they know people will reelect them because they control their own narrative. But what do you think in Brazil? Which organizations, institutions are experiencing an identity crisis? Next question. Maybe you go to church. Maybe you did. Maybe you used to go to church in the pasado. Maybe you do not go to church. In qualquer caso, if you were in charge of helping the church connect with the people, what would you propose? Se você fosse no cargo de ajudar a igreja a conectar com pessoas, o que você falaria? O que você... how do you say propose? What would you propose? What would your ideas be? Proporia. O que você proporia para a igreja fazer para conectar com pessoas novas? E pessoas que estão no momento já na igreja. E talvez resposta diferente, né? Para ganhar pessoas novas e ficar com pessoas já na igreja. What would I say? I would say just simplify everything. Simplify it and stay out of politics. Help people. Be a place of service. Be a place of community service, period. That's it. Don't have any comments about what people do with their lives, because at the end of the day, nas fim das contas, na Bíblia, o que Jesus falou que o que está dentro da pessoa, só Deus pode julgar. Então não precisamos pessoas humanos julgando nada das pessoas na igreja. Nas cortes, sim, precisamos, porque tem sociedade com lei e limite da liberdade da pessoa para fazer, para fazer conflito com liberdade da outra pessoa, né? Mas isso para a sociedade. A pergunta foi para a igreja. Simplify everything. Just help people and remind people that it was Jesus' idea to just help people, period. Especially people who need help. Maybe only people who need help. But that's my idea. What would you propose? O que você proporia? Are you turned off at all by the church? If you go to church, what do you think turns people off to the church? Se você está desligado pela igreja, e se você vai à igreja agora, o que você acha desliga as pessoas da igreja, de igreja? So again, are you turned off by the church? Are you disinterested in the church? And or if you do go to church, what do you think makes people leave the church? Why do you think people would leave a church? Why do you think in Brazil people are leaving the Catholic Church for the evangelical church? Why do you think people might leave the evangelical church to stop going to church? What do you think? I think for me personally, it's hypocrisy, right? Hypocrisy, which is very obvious. It's very easy to see the church being hypocritical. I mean, it's very easy. You just have to observe. That's it. I also think it's politics. I think for the people who are very conservative, the politics are a good thing. They like that in church because they want everybody to share their very specific and particular social beliefs that they think come from the Bible. And they're wrong. They're mentirosas, right? They're people who are dishonest about the significance of the Bible for humans today. So that's what I think. I think it's the politics and the interpretações maus, bad interpretations of how to practice Christianity. And the church sometimes is basically its own political um, body, corpo political, né? E deveria ser menos isso. Não, não, deveria não ter nada disso. Só encontrar, como essa história no NPR que eu estava lendo, só encontrar com pessoas em um lugar para ajudar qualquer comunidade no que você está encontrando. So, anything about what you believe about people's behaviors, ok, qualquer coisa do comportamento das pessoas, atividades das pessoas, rotinas das pessoas, o que as pessoas estão fazendo, deixa fora, deixa para os cortes e o corte de o tribunais, né, o corte de tribunais, deixe para os tribunais da pública, mas isso não é o lugar, o espaço para a igreja. I think that is what turns people off. The invasion of the church into spaces where they should not be, which is a lot of spaces. Do you think Brazilians are becoming disconnected from the fundamentalist church? Why or why not? Se você acha que brasileiros jovens estão ficando desconectado da igreja fundamentalista, por que sim ou por que não? So this is about what you think, perspective, opinion. Do you think young Brazilians are becoming disconnected from the fundamentalist church? Why or why not? I think in the US, in the United States, it seems, based on pesquisa, that young people are desligado from the church. They're not connecting with it. The message from the church is not consistent with what young people care about. They don't care if you're transsexual. They don't care if you smoke marijuana. They don't care if you get pregnant and don't want a baby. They don't care. They care about being nice to people and surviving in a world where o alugar está aumentando, o salário está diminuindo, os espaços para morar está diminuindo, com preços aumentando, né? Com pessoas que tem muitas pessoas que não têm nada e algumas pessoas que têm que tá viajando para a lua. So I think young people don't give a fuck about some of the church topics. And I think young people in the US are quando as pessoas estão educados, quando eles podem conseguir educação, when people can learn about, you know, reality and what reality is outside of church, I think they do not like to restrict themselves to the fundamentalist vision of church, which is socially very restrictive. Politically, the same thing. Economically, it's very restrictive. Last question. Do you think Brazil will have an atheist, a Muslim, or a Jewish leader in your lifetime? Se você acha, antes de você morrer, que o Brasil vai ter ateu, muçulmano ou judeu líder, what do you think? I think probably not. I can't see it. Even in the United States, I think a little bit less religious than Brazil. Um, I don't think an atheist in my lifetime, maybe an atheist, not a Jewish person, not a Muslim. I can't see that. There's too much hate for those groups. I think atheists are growing in the United States. So ateus estão aumentando nos Estados Unidos. Mas muçulmano, judeu, no, I think no. I think the hate is too profundo, too profound, too deep for that to happen in my lifetime. I hope I'm wrong. Eu espero que eu tô errado nesse pensamento. Mas é isso, pessoal, é isso. Espero que vocês gostaram. Por favor, inscreve, subscribe, deixa comentário, deixa like, dislike, qualquer coisa. Não me irrita, dislike, tá bom. Give me something, some engagement. But I hope you enjoyed this episode of the English Language Learning Podcast. Difficult topic. Please, I love this topic. Again, I'm from the evangelical school and church, in the Catholic Church. I live in Brazil, a very religious country, and this is something that afeta todo mundo nesse país, né? Todo mundo está afetado pelas perspectivas, ideologias e políticas da igreja. I think it's a very important conversation to have about church and the direction of church in society in Brazil. So I hope you enjoyed and stay tuned for more.